Welcome back to MonsterTamer, our 2D Pokemon-like RPG created Phaser 3. In our last video, we created a new forest level in Tiled, and then we updated our Phaser game to work with our new expanded area and our forest level. If you haven't seen the previous episode, you can find the link in the description. As always, you can grab the project source code up to this point, along with the completed code for this video, from the links in the description. I'll also include any assets you'll need to follow along, so let's get started. Now that we verified our extended level and our new forest level work fine with our Phaser game, it's time for us to come back and add in the details for our actual map. So for our main area, we need to add in our buildings for our new town. We'll want to come in and add in some additional encounter areas for our main road here, as well as some NPCs, signs, and items for our player to collect. To get started, let's add some new bushes for our player to encounter wild monsters. Let's choose our bush tile, and now we can just paint in some grass onto our map. So we'll start here. So between our fences, we're going to fill this in so our player has to walk through these areas to get to our next town. Let's add some additional decorations here. And we'll just add in one more area that's a little bit bigger. And then this one would be optional for our player to move through. Now we need to define our encounter area. So let's do a new tile layer. We'll call this encounter area 2. Let's move that into our group. Let's choose our encounter class. For our area, we'll do area 2. This will also be our grass type. Let's choose our encounter tile. So let's go ahead and paint our tiles. Next, we'll add a few signs to our level. Let's choose our sign tile. First, we're going to paste one here in the grass. Let's paste a sign by our town entrance. Then we'll place one more up by our forest. So now we'll go to our sign object layer, do insert tile. Let's do our sign. Then we'll want to do our class. This will be our sign. Now for our message, we'll just put in the name of our forest. We're going to call this Spooky Forest. Let's copy that object, paste one down on top of our other sign. For this one, we'll do Welcome to New City. Paste one more down here. And for this one, we'll have an NPC by it that a player will battle. So we'll do Watch Out. Do a new line. And we'll say some trainers will battle you on sight. After battle, we'll do a new line. Next, we'll add some buildings to our town. So let's grab our house tiles. Let's choose our building layer. We'll add a house here. Let's add one more behind it. Let's put two more over on this side. Finally, we'll add in one more building, and this will be our shop where we'll be able to buy items from later on. For this, we'll need to import a new tile set. So in the assets we previously downloaded, under the assets, our tiled folder, there's this shop image here. We'll want to import that in to our project. We'll make sure we do 64 by 64 for our tile width and height. We'll hit OK. And now we should have this new tile set here. Let's grab our tiles, and then we'll add in our building. Now since we added a few new buildings, let's add a few more signs. Let's add a sign in front of our building, and we'll do one next to this building here as well. Go into our sign object layer. Let's copy our sign. For this sign next to our shop, let's do new items in stock. For the one next to our other building, we'll say rest here. Now that we've added these new objects to our map, let's update our collision layer. So let's enable that. We'll grab our collision tile. First, we'll start with our signs. Next, let's do our buildings. Now we'll need to update our foreground layer. So we'll start with our shop tiles. Let's add those in. Let's do our house tiles. Next, we'll add in some items for our player to pick up. So to unlock our item layer, let's copy one of our items. We'll paste one up here. So for this item, we'll give it an item ID of 2 so our player can get one of our capture balls. Let's paste in another item here. So this our ID will be 4. We'll keep an item ID of 1. Let's add one up in our corner here in our town. We'll do an ID of 5. We'll do our item ID. Let's do 2 again. And let's put one more over here for our player to collect. ID 6. And we'll do another potion. Next, let's do our NPCs. So I'm going to copy our NPC 2. Let's make a new object layer. We'll do NPC 3. We'll come up here, we'll put that NPC in our grass. So for ID, let's do 4. We'll do an idle movement. Let's do another NPC, so we'll do a new object layer. We'll do NPC 4. We'll copy your NPC from here. Let's add this one in our grass. So we'll place this one here. So if our player wants our item, we'll have to cross the path. So for ID, let's do 5. We'll do an idle movement pattern. Let's go to our town. Let's add another object layer. Let's do NPC 5. We'll copy your NPC from here. For this one, we'll place in front of our door. So we'll do ID of 6. Let's do 2 more, and we'll have them block these houses here. So let's do another object layer. We'll do NPC 6. And we'll do NPC 7. I'm going to copy your NPC from here. We'll update our ID to be 7. And let's do 8. Finally, we'll place one more NPC up here by our sign before our player enters our forest. So let's do NPC 8. Let's copy this NPC. And we'll do NPC 9. Finally, we just need to create a new level for our building here where our player will be able to enter and rest and heal their team. Let's go to our scene transition layer. We're going to copy one of our building entrances here. We'll come up here. Let's paste it. So for this, we're going to connect to our building 3. We'll do entrance ID 1, and this is a building. So let's save. So now let's go ahead and open up our building 1 file. So we'll do open. We'll do building 1. And now I'm just going to do file. We're going to save this as our building 3. So we'll do building underscore 3. For the time being, we won't worry about redecorating our level. Instead, we'll just update our NPC to have a new ID. So we'll choose our NPC. We'll give it an ID of 10. Now we're going to do our idle movement pattern. So we'll update our area metadata. So we'll do building underscore 3. Let's update our scene transition. So we're going to connect to main 1. And we'll do entrance ID 1. And then is building, we'll have that set to be false. So let's go ahead and save. So now we need to export our new images and our JSON files. So we'll start with our building. We'll do file, export as image. And place it on our desktop. So let's do building underscore 3 underscore level. This will be our background.png. Now we'll just do our foreground. So we'll do building underscore 3 underscore level foreground. Now we need to do our JSON files. Do file, export as. Do building underscore 3 JSON. Now we'll come back to our main area. We'll hide our object layers. Do file, export as image. Do main underscore 1 underscore level background.png. Let's do our foreground. Main underscore 1 underscore level foreground. And now we'll do our JSON file. We'll do export as main underscore 1 JSON. Now we just need to import our new files into our project. So we come back to our code. For all of our images, we're going to want to place those under our assets, our images folder, under MonsterTamer, our map. Under our map folder, we'll want to update our main underscore 1 level and foreground images. And then under our building subfolder, this is where we'll add in our building 3 background and foreground. For our JSON files, we'll go under assets, under data, we'll add in our building 3 JSON file, and we'll replace our main underscore 1. Now that we've added the assets to our project, we need to update our preload scene to load in our new building 3 files. So let's jump over to our asset keys file. Let's go into our building asset keys object. We'll copy our 3 keys for building 2. We'll paste those in. Now we want to do our building 3. Now if we jump over to our preload scene, we want to find where we're using our building asset keys. We'll copy these 3 lines of code where we load in our building assets. Now we'll do our building 3 level, our building 3 foreground, our building 3 background. And we'll update our references. So we'll have building underscore 3. And we'll go ahead and save. Finally, when our game refreshes, we'll see there's an issue when we try to load our world scene. What is happening is since we created new NPCs, we need to add those NPCs to our JSON file. So let's open up our npcs.json. Let's copy our object here for our NPC 3, or paste it. So let's do 4. So for the time being, I'm going to have all of our NPCs just say hi, so make sure our game loads. So now we just need to do this for our other NPCs, and so we'll do 5. We'll do 6. 7. 8. We'll have 9, and then 10. So now when we save and our game reloads, we should see our new NPCs and our items and our buildings show up in our world. So we'll have our NPC up by our forest. We try talking to them, they should say hi. We try interacting with their sign. It's coming down into our city. We should see our NPCs in front of our building. Now if we come down to our shop, we shouldn't be able to enter it since we didn't have an entrance. We try reading our sign, we should see our message. And now if we try moving behind our building, our player should be partially visible. So now let's come down to our building down here and see if we can enter it. Alright, so we see our NPC. Let's leave. We'll try to collect one of our items. Then finally, let's come down to our main road, and we should see our other NPCs and items there. Nice. Now that we've verified all of our changes are working, we just need to update our NPCs to have unique messages and possibly unique sprites to show in our game. Instead of manually going through these one by one and updating these, I'm going to share a link in the description down below to an updated JSON file for both our NPCs and our animations. These updated files are going to have our new NPC animation frames, as well as the dialogue messages for what we see on our screen here. So both of these will be links to GitHub where you can copy those JSON files now and then update your code. Once you do, if you reload your game, you should be able to talk to the various NPCs and see the different messages. Finally, if you go into the new house where we can rest, if you talk to the NPC here, we should see our fade out, our fade in, and we should heal our team. Alright, with that brings this video to an end. In our next video, we're going to wrap up our new area feature by adding in dynamic spawn locations. So as a reminder, there is a link in the description of the video to the completed source code for this video, and as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you did enjoy the video, please consider liking the video and hitting the bell icon to be notified when the next video in the series is released. For more great Phaser content, please see some of the links on your screen now.